there, welcome to U.S. History with Lennox. I am Lennox, and today we are diving into time period 4, which covers 1800 to 1848. We are specifically talking about topic 4.4, which covers the market revolution. Now, before we go anywhere near this, I need to define what the market revolution is. What we see happening during this time period is we are seeing the linking of northern industries with western and southern farmers. This was created by advances in agriculture, industry, and transportation. Essentially, what the market revolution does for our country is it coordinates all the industries and it shifts us from being an agrarian-based society to being a capitalistic society. Now, I mentioned that there were advances in agriculture, industry, and transportation, and I want to start by talking about transportation. America needed a reliable way to transport her goods throughout the country. And several different infrastructure projects are going to help us do that. One of the first is going to be the National Road, also known as the Cumberland Road. It's going to traverse from Maryland all the way to Illinois, about 1,000 miles, which will all be paved. Doesn't sound like a big deal in our world today, but at this point in history, this was huge. Another project that was created was the Erie Canal. The Erie Canal was a man-made river that went across the state of New York, and it connected western farms with eastern factories. Now, the Erie Canal was just the first of many canals that will be built throughout our country. Finally, one of the biggest advances in transportation is going to be the advent of steam, the steamboat. Robert Fulton is going to discover a way to harness steam that would power boats up and down the rivers. Prior to this, we were reliant on the current and the direction it would flow. So whatever direction the current was flowing, well, that's the direction your product went. But the steamboat will allow us to go up and down the river. This will increase the efficiency of trade monumentally. And while the steamboat played a huge role in growing our country, it was nothing compared to the railroad. The railroad is actually going to start replacing all those canals that were built. Both local and state governments are going to assist building these railroads with leases and tax breaks and sometimes even free land just to get railroads built in their markets. The nation was now linked from one side to the other. Industry is also going to see a lot of new advances, and we can thank Eli Whitney for this. Eli Whitney is going to introduce interchangeable parts. Now, this might not seem like a big deal to us today, but back then, if you had a part break on something, you literally had to rebuild the whole item. Whitney started with interchangeable parts for rifles, but then it's going to expand to larger machinery. So instead of having to replace an entire machine because one part broke, now you can just replace that part. And what he realizes, if you use precise manufacturing of these parts, it's going to be much easier and more efficient to repair machinery versus rebuild it. Once these interchangeable parts were applied to industry, you are going to see a factory boom in our country. In the 1820s, factories are going to spring up all over our country and start producing more and more goods. And the thing is, they could be produced with unskilled labor. And now we have more products that Americans can start buying. Finally, I want to talk about the advancements in agriculture. Another invention by Eli Whitney is going to be the cotton gin. And the cotton gin basically made it easier to remove seeds from the cotton fibers. It once was done by hand, and it took hours. Now you have a machine that can do that. Once we start producing more cotton, new inventions come out, like the spinning machine, which actually takes those cotton fibers and turns them into yarn. The cotton gin is going to transform Southern agriculture, and we're just going to start producing way more cotton in our country. The other thing that's going to change due to that is we're going to see an end to subsistence farming. Most farmers in America up to this point were farming basically for their own needs. And if they had a little left over, well, then they could sell it. With the growth of technology, you're going to see more and more farmers switch to commercial farming, growing cash crops. And the primary crops we're going to be growing, cotton and tobacco. American cotton is going to become one of the #1 products that British textile factories start to use. And so you're going to see our farms here in America start to link to the international industries. And because, honestly, of all these innovations in technology and agriculture and transportation, you're going to see different regions of America start to grow and not only build markets between each other, but also internationally. On our next video, we're going to look at how the market revolution affected society. And hey, if you liked anything you saw here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And if you have any questions, post them in the comments below, and I'll get back to you as quick as I can. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.